Okay. Hey, we're recording.
All right, here we go
All
then.
right.
Yeah, I was just reading this article, Heather Cox Richardson's article today, which, by the way, to any of our viewers, if you're not following Heather Cox Richardson, that you need to be, because she's a definitive voice and historian, looking at the news of the day and in context. It's really an amazing project that she's done. She's been doing these letters from an American, as she calls them, for several years now at least, and
Right.
it's been really great. Yeah. In fact, she has a book out now too. Uh, and one of the things she was talking about today, let me scroll through it, is that I thought was interesting is about how the right wing continues to uh, work against themselves almost. They they double down every time on everything. Uh,
Right,
to
right.
to put it lightly, but what's happening now is, of course, DeSantis is trying even more repressive things in Florida. And here's the crux of it all. This may have been something that you were going to bring up, but how Trump is telling us what he's going to do on his second term. And the interesting thing that I find is that there's more media uh, are looking at Trump more critically and saying, "Look, this is what he's saying he's going to do." Uh, and the problem, as I was getting to at first, is that all they're doing is just pandering to their base, and their
Yeah.
base is not going to win an election for them. I don't believe their base will even win an electoral college election. Um, but that was my first thought today on reading Heather Cox Richardson's column. Uh, what do you think?
Well, let me see.
I mean, about the Republicans killing themselves softly, as it were. Well, they're talking about getting rid of the ACA again, and that's wildly popular. There's something like 4 million
Right.
people on it. It's wildly popular, and
Oh,
there's
more
always
like
things that
40.
they is it 40 million.
It's a
There's all the
lot, man.
it's incredible. There's so many people that are involved with it, but and those are votes, but they lose just like that. Uh, that's just the way it is for them. They're going to lose those votes. Uh, I'm not I'm not sure what their strategy
Yeah, I
is,
mean,
what they're trying to pull off. You know.
I think it's just kind of like, a gambler where they just keep doubling down, uh that they don't even really even they've even forgotten the game that they're playing. They're trying to, they're so far, they're fighting it to fight it, really, because what's the appeal in that? I mean, I'm trying to think of why they think that might be a good thing. Like why, like how would that be popular? You
Oh,
know, how would that be a winning fucking sales pitch? I mean, I know that they originally did it because of Obama. They didn't like him, but
well,
but I'm just curious as to the logic behind the, who among us would be sure, man, go ahead and take my health care away. I have too much of
well,
it.
yeah, yeah. I would not be surprised, really, at some point to see Biden come out and say, "Well, you know what? I'm going to campaign on health care for all," and just do it like that. Uh, I
I
think
think, at bare minimum, it should be a tax deduction.
oh, healthcare, yeah,
Yeah. To a
yeah.
certain point, maybe everybody gets a $10,000 a year. If you carry health insurance for a year, it should be a tax deduction. I mean, that's one way.
Well, it's a start. I think it's a start. It's of course. I think if you just give everybody health care, like you walk in, you get taken care of. Oh, the government's taken care of. We do
Yeah.
have a $5 processing fee or some crap like that. And then people can complain about the $5 processing fee.
Well, they'll
So,
have to, the thing is people want something, they want something and they want it better and they want it and they don't want to spend a fortune for it. But one thing that they do not want is they don't want it taken away
well, for sure
under
not.
any
For sure
fucking
not.
circumstance,
For
under
sure not.
any. And so if
I would
someone
argue
comes along and they're banking, well, I'm going to run on taking it away. It's not an
it doesn't
appeal.
make any sense.
It
It
doesn't
just
make any
doesn't make
sense.
any sense.
Only if you're just being a contrarian, where they're just, if you're for it, they're against it. If you're against it, they're for it.
They're. I hate to throw this cliche out because it gets thrown out a lot. Is the party of no?
Mm-hmm.
And it's obviously not working for him as a. I mean, what other than the presidency, what has the Republican Party accomplished? Really? I mean, well, they got the Roe v. Wade thing, and I guess business has
Yeah.
a they have a
Well, I don't know if they've accomplished anything as much as they've undone things.
well, they've kept things from being done too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that too. Absolutely.
yeah. I I don't get where these people are coming from, man.
Yeah. Well, I think, if they've been so spoiled just being able to be against things and, just be no. And when you're that way, you don't have to do any homework. You don't have to do any hard work.
Right.
And
Well, we're
so,
doing the middle.
if you're 5 or 6 years into that mindset, dude, you have no choice but to be against whatever because you're not going to be doing the work. You're not going to be coming up with a better plan. They don't want to come up with a better plan because they don't even
Well,
have one.
this, I think they're going to find that this business of no is not going to work in
It's not,
2024.
yeah,
Uh,
it works for a while and then it don't work anymore.
I'm sure. I'm certain that there are MAGAs out there that are just as sure in their position as I am in mine. But what I would say is that they're. I guess I'm saying it publicly at last. We're seeing the last heaving gasp of American style conservatism. These people are gone. And we're seeing a lot of it in other places too. And I think that it's just, I think it's society, humanity in general is moving to the progressive direction, to get
Yeah.
all new agey and stuff about it. But, so that's my first topic. So
Wonder. Good, man. Well, I wanted to bring up Ammon Bundy
Emmett Bundy, yeah, you know a
with
lot more about
the
that
uh,
than go ahead. I'll
the
ask you some.
sire of Cliven Bundy, right? The
Right,
Bundy Ranch, and then
Malheur and all that. Yeah,
well, then yeah, Cliven. I remember he had like that standoff in Nevada, I believe, and they had all they went against the Bureau of Land Management, and they
Right, right,
faced
right.
down the government, and the government kind of backed down. And I remember, I think at the time, man, it was like Sean Hannity went out and did a show live from the Bundy Ranch.
Wow, I didn't remember that.
And
Wow.
then I do remember him saying, Clive and Bundy, something to the effect is, okay, well, he said a bunch of things, and now I want to speak about the Negro. and, he, and he was kind of thinking that uh, they were better off when they were picking cotton because they had families, and
Yeah.
okay, he made that whole argument, and at that
Oh
point,
Lordy, pick a bale of cotton.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
Lordy, pick a bale a day. Are we so happy out here? Yeah, right. Oh,
So
those guys.
at that point, Hannity disowned him. Cliven kind of went off into obscurity, but his son, um, Ammon, he was the one who went to Malheur, uh,
Right.
that reserve, and they were there for like 6 weeks or something, man.
Yeah. Send
And
snacks.
and since they came without provisions, uh, and there's a thing. Damnation Drive-In, they sent there's a website you can do. It's gummy. It's called bagadicks.com, and they'll send an anonymous bag of gummy bear shaped dicks to I could send them to you,
Okay.
but you wouldn't know who they were coming from, so they sent them to Malheur.
Of course,
and the one tragedy of
and that
Malheur was
sort of gets into what I was talking about earlier about the sheer incompetence of these people. And for the good of the United States of America, I would like to see some intelligence on the conservative side. I mean, you
well,
understand what I'm saying? But
listen, it gets better.
it's
Well, there was a guy there, Lavoy Finnegan, and he was known as the Blue Tarp Man. It was so cold in Malheur, they were freezing, and they had these big bonfires. And he would always wrap a big blue tarp around him to keep warm.
right.
And then all the chubs would be like, "You see that man in the blue tarp? That is the best man you will ever see. He's a true patriot." Well, he ended up getting shot by the FBI, and he died. He was the one death there.
Oh, really?
In
Oh, okay.
Malheur, the death of the Blue Tarp Man. So, and I tried to start a movement where on every day of that year, you fly a blue tarp.
Fly a blue tarp out
You,
your yard.
on your flagpole.
Yeah,
Put a
yeah,
blue
yeah,
tarp
yeah.
on
Maybe
your
at half
flagpole.
mast or something. Yeah. Fly a
Whatever.
blue tarp at half mast.
You could put a couple bullet holes in it,
Yeah.
if you wanted to.
For authenticity,
So
sure.
anyway, and then Ammon Bundy goes again. He faced no repercussions, shock of all shocks. And guess the shocking thing is he did it again. And he went with St.
Well,
Louis
that
and over COVID and got sued. And now he's lost his home, his land, and he is now on the run from the state of Idaho. So that's and so if anything happens on the Bundy front, I'll keep you abreast of the Bundy family. But the Bundy
he's
name,
underground. He's gone.
I don't think I've ever known a good Bundy. I mean, maybe Al Bundy, but Ted Bundy.
One of those Bundys. Just keep us abreast of the Bundys.
I'm on Bundy watch. And then one thing which kind of came in very recent tonight, I think, was the first questionnaire or pre-screening questionnaire is being sent out to DC residents for the Donald Trump trial.
Oh, now run through the timeline of that again. They're going to start in January.
Yeah. So what now they're going to pre-screen potential jury assembly people, right? And then they're going to start in January and have the jury picked by, well, who knows, however long that fucking takes,
Yeah,
a week maybe,
could
not
be a month.
maybe,
They'll
maybe, but
drag
it's
it as
only
long
12
as they can.
jurors. It's only 12 jurors. So,
Yeah, but in a situation like this, I bet they seat a whole seat 24 because
right,
there'll be,
right.
yeah, and there'll be 12 that are official, but they'll all 24 will be
Well,
in.
they'll have alternates for sure.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so that'll start in January, probably wrap up all told by February, with the trial starting in March. And they expect it to be 2 to 3 months. So, which
June,
would be March,
June or so.
April, May, June. Between May and June. Wow, it could be on May 1st, May Day. Anyway,
Yeah,
anyway, I tell you what, man. I think at least from Trump's perspective is, it's about to get really, like, really, happening.
yeah.
I mean, you ever had to like do something, maybe, maybe not report to prison but yeah, maybe a horrible appointment, but it was a year away or 6 months away. And so you wouldn't, you knew about it, but then a week away, you start going, oh shit. And then 5 days and 4 days,
That's like the way I felt the last time I got a colonoscopy. Actually,
probably.
you
Yeah.
know,
I mean, look, when you make the appointment and it's 6 months away, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, sounds good,
yeah,
right?
piece of cake, yeah.
And then,
Once every 10 years, no problem. Yeah.
and then you're, about a week out from that horrible thing, and it starts to get real, real. So I'm thinking him knowing those questionnaires and shit are being sent out. That'll probably,
Well, it's an
that has a
interesting
way of focusing you.
well, it's an interesting aspect of a timeline, I suppose. You and I are not surprised that something like that happens, but for some people, that might be the what? Oh, they send out questionnaires too? Uh, but yeah, especially in something this big, because they're going to have to canvass a lot of people to uh, find enough people to
Yeah,
assemble a free, a fair and impartial jury. And
but
that's
they'll find them. I mean, it's the jury pool is basically a lot of government workers and um, people that work near government workers.
oh, I'm sure everybody there is related to a government
One way
worker,
or another. Yeah, I mean,
either through friendship or marriage, whatever. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
they'll find people. You know,
yeah. Hmm. Pretty crazy.
so
Pretty
that's
crazy thing.
yeah, that's what's happened on that front.
Donald Trump. What a guy, man. Just to think, we lived during the period of one of the great inept fascists of our time.
One of the worst the world over.
Well, we'll
And we're
find out
still,
just how bad he is, because and see that's the thing is I gotta wonder, did the average German think that Hitler was this crazy? You know, you know what I'm saying? Was the average
Mhm.
German citizen going? Were there people like you and me going, man, this Hitler guy?
Oh, completely. A lot of them left long
Well,
before.
that is true. That is true. A lot of people left. You know what I'm seeing, and that's I'm trying to think of who it was. Some movie star is would definitely leave, and the way they said it, I had a feeling it was probably true. And you know, you're seeing more of them that are living abroad now. George Clooney doesn't really live here anymore. I mean, he's involved, but he doesn't. I don't think he lives here anymore. A lot of them just Johnny Depp moved to France.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, they all have different reasons, sure, but you know,
sure. Yeah. Well, they're going to live good no matter where they are.
well, that's but it'll be more comfortable for them to live through it in say France than
Oh, yeah.
Chicago.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens though, but because I mean, I think that that trial, at least the one in DC, will be done, will be signed, sealed, and delivered
The election, yeah.
long before the election, probably even before the debates. You know,
Depends. Well, you
I mean, at
know,
that point, I think, but
there's
by
not
that
going to
point, he'll be the
I,
nominee.
I don't think there's going to be a debate. I
But
don't
if there
think
was, if there would be, it would be sometime
it
in
would be sometime around
October,
August or
September.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't think there will be because for one thing, I
it would
don't
be the
think
first
either one
time
of
ever.
them wants to. I don't think either one of them wants to. In Biden's case, all he's doing is uh, giving Trump a chance to stomp around the stage and look like a man. Uh, so why give him that forum? You know, all he's going to do is every time Biden hits him with something, he's going to say, wrong, that's a lie, wrong, just like he did to Hillary Clinton. He'll treat Biden the same way, you know.
Well, but at that point, he would be a convicted felon.
Well, there is that. There is that.
I mean, uh, I think it would be, you would have the scenario for sure that he will get the nomination before the start of the trial. Because DeSantis and Nikki Haley, for them people, they ain't going nowhere. Um, but then he will be convicted. And there you go, man. It's another bus stop. If you're a Republican, you could get rid of him. You could say, that they can't have a felon on their ticket. I think you froze up. Oh yeah,
You
you froze. What happened? You froze up.
you were frozen or something, you know. Anyway, so yeah, my
So do you
next
think,
thing
I
that
guess
I
my
thought,
question would be this, Matt. My question would be, um, what do you think that they would keep him on the ticket,
they
or
won't have any choice. They won't have any choice because remember, from their point of view, these are all trumped up charges.
well, but it'll be,
Even even the fix will be in the quote fix will be in some way or another. Uh, because these people live in an
well, yeah,
unreality anyway. They live in some distorted, bizarro world, where suddenly One America News is the most trusted news source in America. I mean, come on.
well, yeah, there is that, but I guess I'm speaking about the Republican National Committee.
Well, again, they won't have a choice.
Well, I mean, I tell you, he would hurt all the down ballot Republicans.
Of course, it would. What do you to
Um,
that in that vein? What do you think of the Republicans going ahead and having their debates? What do they expect to gain from that? I mean, it's
just
whittled down to four, and I can't even name them.
it just it's programming, the exposure, you know.
It's what kind of exposure is it? It's negative. It seems to be negative exposure to me. Because you got these fools up
Yeah,
there.
but publicity,
Yeah, but you got these
good or
fools.
bad.
None of them are gonna even make the primaries. They're going to be voted out immediately. I
Sure,
mean,
sure. Well, I think that the fact that uh, they don't even care if Trump goes or not, you know, to the debates, I guess.
well, that just means that they're going to nominate him no matter what he does. Uh,
Probably. I guess they'll try and stick with him, but it's harder. It is harder um, it is harder um, when he's convicted because
well, and that's one of the
not
reasons.
every single person there is a mind-numbed robot. And maybe you'd have a lot of donors who wouldn't give a lot of money to that. I mean, maybe there'd be some Christians who would be like, I thought
Well, a lot of them. And
I think that some of them
I've
would
read
abandon
articles
him.
recently about the evangelicals are losing faith, so to speak, uh, in Donald Trump, losing his religion, as it were. But uh,
All right. Well, we have 9 minutes left.
how many?
9.
Oh, 9 minutes. Well, I was going to talk about psychedelic drugs for a little while, but I tell you what, let's go ahead and stay on politics this time. And I'm starting a new thing called the Dumbass of the Week, and it's the reason I want to start out with someone who I don't think will ever be a bigger dumbass than this guy, and a case can be made. Uh, I'm going to award the first weekly George Santos Dumbass of the Week award to none other than George Santos. And I can think of no one who deserves this award more. I mean, here's a guy who woke up one day with skeletons falling out of his closets onto him, and he decides to run for office as a gay Republican.
And
And he's got so many skeletons that he can't even he has to lie his way out of his lies. I mean, it's the most
yeah, yeah.
extraordinary. It's the most extraordinary political thing I've seen in a long time. And let me tell you, coming from Texas, we've seen some politicians that have no sense being politicians. It's just the fact of the matter.
Ted Cruz.
This guy, so he gets the dumbass of the week award just to kick the dumbass of the week award off on a good note, good strong note. No one will ever hit this goal again, but this is what they'll need to aspire to if they want to be the dumbass of the week.
Very good. Yeah, yeah. Well, he again was one of those people who didn't probably expect to win.
That's what you got to wonder. How does that happen? How do these dumbasses win? I mean, some of them I can chalk it up to Jerry for what's her name in Colorado for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Uh, but
Well, there you go.
and she may be reelected, even besides all her shenanigans. So I don't know, man. America.
But he's been the first one who's been kicked out. And how many? There's only been like 4 people who've been expelled from Congress.
I think he's the fourth, yeah. And the last one was like 20 years ago or 30 years ago. Uh, it's been a while. Yeah, it's a. And he, what was he said on the way out? He said, "Fuck this place" on the way out.
He may turn it into a win, man. He's doing a cameo things now, where those little messages.
Well, sure,
Yeah.
sure. He's had 50. He's
But
gonna milk his 15 minutes.
he is going to end up in prison, no question about
Well, yeah, there you go. That's the thing. He's going to end up in prison over all this.
it. Credit card fraud, that kind of stuff, man. You either did it or you didn't.
Right,
And
right.
they and they have all the bank records and shit. So the guy's, he's a dead man walking in that respect.
Again, why would somebody have that kind of stuff in their background? Look, all I've got in my background is two pot bust from decades ago. But I wouldn't run for office because of that. People would
Well, I
just go
mean, I tell you what
drug
though,
user,
but I think when Trump was allowed to run and win, given all of his background,
well,
it kind of
that's
softened it lowered the standards. And other people thought, well, hey, you know what? Maybe I could run.
maybe there's room for me at the trough.
If he can get away with that, then maybe
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
I can get away with it.
yeah. It's insane, man. But this is America.
There it is, man. Well, that is the inaugural recording here. So
Man, I think it went okay. I'd say go ahead and
I think it went okay. Yeah, I'm gonna uh, mess with it tomorrow. All right, I'm gonna end this, bud.
hmm?
I'm gonna end this thing.
Okay, man, end it.
All right. Good night.
Good night, man. Bye.